Most people think that debt is simply a math problem. Now, if that were really the case, anybody with a calculator and a budget would be debt-free. Now, reality is that that really isn't the case. But have you ever found yourself in a position where you had a plan, you had a budget, and you go through it and you're still in debt? Well, you're not alone. That's where we were at one point, and we finally decided to take a little bit more of a different approach. Now, stick around, because in this video, we're going to talk about why some debt strategies fail, even when they really should work on paper. And then I'm going to give you one question that'll change the way you approach money going forward. Now, tell me if this scenario sounds familiar. You've made a decision that this is the time, this is the year, this is the situation that you're going to go and get out of debt. So you go, you get yourself a budget, you go, you get yourself a plan, you have everything laid out, and you actually start executing on the plan. And guess what? You're doing great. Everything is flowing. It's making sense. You're hitting your numbers. But then something happens. It's called life. You get stressed. Something happens with your family. A family member gets sick. You get sick. You start falling off the plan. And you find old habits starting to creep in. Now, here's the reality. It's not that you didn't try hard enough. It's that you were attacking the wrong thing. You were trying to solve the wrong problem. The reality is that most financial advice already assumes you know what to do. It already assumes you have a clear idea of what is good and what is bad and what is supposed to happen and how you're supposed to approach money and debt and finances in general. Here's the thing though, knowing what to do doesn't mean that you're going to do it consistently or even do it at all. And that's especially when times get hard or when emotions run high. Finances are emotional. That's the issue. There's much deeper stuff tied within finances for the individual. See, what people fail to realize is that every money decision is based upon a need. That's where where people get things wrong. They think they're making a logical decision when it's really based on a particular need, a particular emotion. It's not necessarily always logical. We don't always ask ourselves, what's the smartest financial move? I mean, I never did, that's for sure. And being debt-free, I can tell you that I wasn't always that way, and that was not always the number one question I was asking. Most of the time, when people go out and spend, they look and ask themselves, what's going to make me feel better right now? Hey guys, quick interruption on the video. My wife Corinne and I built Divine Stewardship to help Christian couples manage their money, eliminate debt, and build generational wealth through a biblical lens. Click the link in the description to learn more. Back to the video. You see, that's a totally different question. It's a totally different premise. It's a totally different perspective. The person isn't worried about what's the smartest logical move. They're worried about what is going to make them feel better. See, it's all emotional. There's a deeper underlying issue going on when it comes to money and their finances. Maybe you're looking for peace of mind. Maybe you're looking for more control. Maybe you just want to blow off some steam. Whatever the underlying issue is, that's what we need to uncover, because that's really where the old and bad habits are coming from. That's really what's driving the debt issue in your particular life. And you see, it's because of that's where the plan really starts to fall apart. It had nothing to do with the plan itself. It was all about the habits and the emotional aspect behind the finances that caused the plan to fall apart. It wasn't the plan itself. If executed properly or whatever was written down, most likely the individual would be out of debt. But it's the underlying habits, it's the underlying problem associated with money and debt and spending that is really causing the issue. Now, with that comes an even deeper, another layer, so to speak. So now that we see that these habits are more emotional, what is it in your mind that is bringing up these emotions? See, now we got to go down into a different layer. What is your perception around money? What is your perception around yourself? Are you constantly saying to yourself, this always happens to me? I always wind up doing this. Why does this always happen? Why do I continuously fall into the same trap over and over again? I've gotten out of debt before and now I'm back in it, or I can never get ahead. What is going on? That's a little bit deeper. We got to understand that we need to fix that issue, because if we don't fix that first, we're not going to be able to ever get out of debt or ever be able to handle our finances properly. But here's the beauty. Once you identify that, once you see that pattern, you can stop it. You can stop it right then and there, and then start changing the way you approach it. Because here's the thing, most people don't ever realize that they even have this problem. They're always saying that this is the way I am. That's the issue. You don't want to always be the way you are. You want to change the way you are. You want to change the way you think. You want to change your approach, because when you change the approach, the outcome will be different. If you continuously do the same thing that you've always done, you're going to get the same results. We need to change. We need to reframe. We need to reframe the mindset. We need to rethink. We need to renew our minds to the way we approach money. And how do we do that? Well, we have to start asking ourselves, first identifying which we have, but then we have to start asking ourselves different questions. So what type of questions should we be asking ourselves, right? You got to understand, we got to just maybe take one question that'll help us out. Because why? It's going to bring about clarity. We got to be clear. We got to have clear intentions. We have to have and know what our why is. So here's that one question. Here's that question that I think everyone should start off with at least. You bring this one question in and you'll start to understand what you need to do or how you need to reframe the way you think regarding money and finances to finally break out of the cycle of bad habits and to get on the path of understanding and growing with your finances. So here's the question. What is the problem that I'm trying to solve right now? That's it. You start asking yourself that question right before any large purchase or any type of spending in general. You'll begin to really understand where your finances and where your emotional state is driving your finances. If you're at the grocery store and you ask yourself, what need am I trying to solve right now? Well, it's obvious. It's the need of having food and groceries and stuff to eat when you get home. That's an easy one. If you're out clothes shopping, it's, well, I need clothes so that I can go outside and be social. Great. But you have to understand why in that particular moment. Ask yourself in that particular moment, why or what is the problem I'm trying to solve? Because if you've already got clothes and you're out clothes shopping or for more clothes, is getting clothes really the problem that you're trying to solve at that particular moment? I know that's a silly scenario, but it's one that happens more often than you think. That question, whenever I go shopping, would be, what problem am I trying to solve right now? And the problem would be, my clothes are too old and I need new ones. So that's that's just of course a joke. So what problem am I trying to solve right now? Am I looking for relief? Am I looking to blow off some steam? Am I trying to avoid something stressful? Am I trying to feel better fast, like right now? Here's the big point. You need to be honest with yourself. Truly, be honest with yourself. If you're going to be honest with anyone, you ought to be honest with yourself. Because if you're not honest with yourself, you're never going to be able to grow. You're never going to be able to break out of the cycle. You have to self-reflect here and understand what is it that's going on right now. Get to the deeper level. Because you see here, once you get into that deeper level, once you understand really what's going on, you will begin to make better choices because you begin to recognize the patterns. And once you recognize the patterns, you can start breaking those patterns and start instilling new ones. Start renewing the mind. Reframe it. Get rid of the old, bring in the new. Understand why something is happening, and then you can begin to change it. So some final thoughts here. Remember, debt strategies, most of them can work. That isn't the issue, however. It's really what's going on with the individual. You need to understand why you're in this particular situation. Once you understand the why and you can understand what's going on at a deeper level, then you can start to really attack the problem. It's not the math. It's the emotion behind it. It's the psychological behind it. The financial plans fail when you don't take the time to understand the why. Get to know the why. Understand the why you're in this situation. Why are the plans failing? Once you have those answered, then you can really start to put any type of plan in place and to really, really push the change in your finances. And until the next video, thank you and God bless.